What's up, Low Gang? Welcome back to another banger of a video. And as you can see, we are in the woods today. And now that I think about it, using Logan Paul for this joke was probably not the best idea I've ever had. Anyways, right about now you should be asking yourself 3 questions. First, why the hell is he in the woods? Second, what is going on? I thought this is a Rell channel. And thirdly, why the fuck is the guy in front of the camera so fucking ugly? And even though all of these questions are pretty justified, it's actually pretty obvious. Well, at least for the question with the woods, I can't even tell you why I look like a nosepass on a bad day. I'm of course here to search for one of them with the most hate-filled things within the Rell community, and I got a good tip that it's somewhere around here. So I've been searching for about 15 hours now. Don't mind that it's still bright. I think the skybox is just bugged as usual. You know how it is. I even had some problems back there with a cliff, but fortunately I had my water bucket with me, so I could just MLG down. It was crazy, let me tell you. Maybe a montage about that is gonna come out in the future. But so far I haven't really found any. Wait, guys, I think I see something. Oh my god. Guys, this is it. Those of you who have followed my channel for quite a while now know that I have had a history of not really interactions, but I stated my opinion on like the Rell community on Reddit and Discord before, and it hasn't been too pleasant. And even though for the most part this is just a small minority, the loud small minority, it is still always fun to look at what they have to say and just poke a bit of fun at it. And that's why I thought it would be funny to look at the Rell mains Discord a little bit more closely and just check what is going on in there. And obviously I can't check like month of conversations, so just look what happened since the beginning of this year, so since the 1st of January. And also of course what has to be stated is that these conversations are only a percentage of what's going on in there. Not every single conversation is the way I will show you how it is. There are of course also normal conversations going on in there, I mean, obviously. But that's enough explaining. Now join me on the journey through the depths of the Rell Discord. But before we get into any specific messages, let me introduce you to the root of all evil for all the brave Rell mains on this Discord. And now, okay, trigger warning. You gotta buckle up for this one. Are you ready? Are you ready? I will say it. Midscope updates. No fucking way! Worst change Riot has ever done! And I mean, they have a point. Like, Rell is completely unplayable since this rework. They changed her so much. And really, I don't recognize her anymore. At this point, what is going on? Do we even have Rell anymore? Not. But I'm not even joking. These guys really still complain. Half a year after the Midscope update about it. Half a year. I mean, look at this for example. What the fuck happened? She feels so disjointed. Or the point of her E now is to be a waste of system memory. Or I feel like they abandoned her. R still feels even more useless. I mean, they got a point. I mean, it is what it is. And there are much more comments around those lines. Like, keep in mind, I only looked at messages that happened after the 1st of January. I don't even want to know what they wrote before that. And now let's be serious for a moment. Okay, I can completely understand if you don't like the Midscope update. Like, it's totally fine. If it's not for your liking, that's okay. But to go on there and complain about it over and over again, day after day after day, and they really do this, I'm not joking. Aren't you getting like bored of that? Isn't it getting annoying to write the same thing over and over again? Like, it happened over half a year ago. At some point you have to accept it. And one more thing, a huge point that is really not liked by the Rell community, I think overall most of people who just don't like the Midscope update are complaining about what they did to attract and repel. And I'm gonna say it now, and I stand 100% behind this. Attract and repel had to be removed. It was a badly designed spell and it was not healthy for the game. I mean, an unpredictable and unavoidable CC spell that can single-handedly negate every assassin's one biggest weakness, being easy to apply CC, with just a single press of the button is just not healthy for the game. And now don't get me wrong, Attract and Repel wasn't like the strongest spell ever, but only because the spell is not strong, that doesn't mean it can't be unhealthy for the game. Could they have done something more interesting than Full Tilt? For sure. But honestly, Full Tilt is not that bad. They managed to give Rell a good amount of versatility by giving her a spell that is pretty bland and doesn't do much. But since its movement speed, the versatility of the champ as a whole does increase. So, well done, Riot, honestly. Alright, but enough of that. Let's look at some specific examples of what exactly is stated on the good old Rell Discord. Let's go into it. Alright, let's look at this one for example. I'm not gonna memorize those, so I'm gonna read it for you. Haha. So we have someone going on a tangent about how bad the new Rell Q is. I quote, "I think the only ADC that would ever be in range at auto range would be Quinn. And that's only because I forgot Rell's range numbers at the moment. I think it's 357 with the movement, which would reach." And to be fair to them, they did mention that they are not too sure about the numbers on Rell's Q, but to be honest, if you go on a whole ass tangent about how bad something is about Rell's new Q, then at least take the 10 seconds to maybe double check what exactly you are saying right there. And I wouldn't even say something if they were just off by like a little bit, but they are off by over 100. Rell's new Q range is 520, not 357. That is not even remotely close. And by the way, Quinn, one of the AD carries you mentioned that should be within this range, isn't even in the range. It might only be 5 units, but it's still more on paper. And even if we go ahead and say, okay, it's only 5 units, that's basically within the range. Let's not be too harsh with that one. In that case, we would have to go ahead and put literally every AD carry that has 525 auto attack range. We have to count them as being within the range of Rell's Q. And let me tell you, a lot of AD carries have that range. And if we add all of these to the ones that are already inside of Rell's auto attack range, then we have more ADCs being within Rell's new Q range than there are ADCs that are not in there. Which also goes completely against your original statement. Okay, but let's move on. Here we have someone who is very sad apparently that the new Q from Rell doesn't have a shield break anymore. Do I need to say something? No? Alright. Okay, making fun of an innocent mistake of a fellow nice human being just to stretch the video out a bit. Check. Alright, the final thing I want to talk about is not really something about the server as a whole, but of a specific person. Who is like, let's call him the magnum opus of this server, because he is in there in every single conversation about Rell. There is not a single conversation on there, as far as I've seen at least, where this person has not given any input to it. And for simplicity's sake, let's call him Bob. Let me ask you something. Do you know these people who just type in a way that makes them absolutely look like someone narcissistic, like a tiny bit? Like it feels like their ego is above the roof, and the moment you write something that doesn't go along his lines, you are gonna get completely destroyed by him. Yeah, let's say Bob might be kind of like that. And if you ask me, like, I'm gonna be totally honest, on this Discord you mainly see the same people, like the same up to, let's say, 10 people who usually write on there. And I think one of the biggest reasons why no new people want to interact on there is because they see the way this person writes and they are like, nah, I don't want to deal with that. Hell nah. Get me out of here. Hell to the no. Because honestly, you just don't want to get thrashed on for every single statement you make. That's just not fun. And just to be completely clear here, he doesn't insult anyone or harass them. It's like the typical, I'm way better than you and everything you say that I don't agree with is objectively wrong experience, you know? All of us have probably had some of these before. And I honestly don't blame people for not writing in there. It's just usually not a pleasant experience. And for our first example of Bob, like, voicing his opinion, we have the very first message of the year 2024. So this will be great. So what Bob is referring to in this situation is a clip from some pro player. I'm not too sure which region or what else. I didn't really look that much into it. But it's a pro player situation where a Rell lane gets ganked and yeah, they both die. Fortunately, happens. 2v3, you just die sometimes, you know? I will show you the clip real quick.
No, they could be coming. Shun is actually second guessing himself. He's like, are they gonna step back up?
Ooh, on!
Goes in. Double pulverized, then the flash, it doesn't connect. Shouldn't misplays. And now the gets the blade collar back, but it doesn't matter. Elk, he's still alive. Ming, Ming, get him. The crash down right there. The percentage health damage, and Ming is left wanting. BLG big on the bot lane.
All right, and now I have a little quiz for you guys. So the question is, how is Bob going to react to this clip? Is it A, calmly explain what he would have done in this situation to maybe get some better outcome? Is it B, explain why Alistar is a really good pick and Rell so other people on the Discord can learn from this situation and improve? Or is it C, claiming that pro players suck on Rell, claiming stuff that doesn't matter and is untrue, and claim that old Rell would have most definitely had more counterplay in this situation and that would have most likely survived it? Ding 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 ding, if you chose C, then you are correct. How did you know, by the way? Huh? I think that was pretty difficult quiz. Alright, let's go through this. I have to read it, it's because it's quite a lot. Okay, here. Have another clip of current Rell kit being useless. E was used for damage that had no value. Mount up was instantly performed rather than buffering a normal beforehand. Rell's positioning in general at the start was horrible and led to both players getting knocked up rather than Rell giving herself breathing room to safety react to Alistar. With old Rell, she could have just sat in a bush and E Alistar on WQ attempt, causing her ally to get knocked back and not knocked up. And then Lemao. At the last normal attack from Rell onto Kai would have been dead several seconds before the pre-mid scope. It hurts. And then he keeps going. Also note that Rell is bad pick into Vi and Nico to begin with, and got counterpicked by Alistar. 3 bad matchups. Before mid-scope, at least there are situational movements where she handled herself positively versus Vi, and Alistar was more of a neutral, favoring Rell. Currently, it's favoring Alistar, and not really neutral. Then he goes on to say stuff about what Kadra said. I don't really know, it's not included in the clip, so let's not talk about this. So, let's get into it. E was used for damage. And what exactly is wrong with using E for damage? And if you want to be super exact, like you want to be, it was actually Rell E that caused Vi's Q not to be in range. So the Rell E in this situation wasn't only used for damage. It also helped to outrange the Vi Q right there. Then you say a lot of stuff that technically isn't wrong, yes, but you have to get into the head of the pro player right there. They are right in the situation and it's way easier to say stuff after the play already happened. You guys probably were in the situation before where you went for a play and then afterwards you were like, shouldn't have done that. But yeah, of course, it's super easy to say that after it happened. Because for one, you know the outcome. And secondly, you probably think about it, okay, maybe it wasn't the smartest play. But in the moment, it might have seemed like the correct play. Then we have the portion where you say that old Rell could have counterplayed it a bit more. Which, yes, is true. Old Rell with Attract and Repel was able to counter Headbutt Pulverize, but it doesn't even apply on the situation right there. Because if you paid a little bit more attention to the clip you posted and maybe even clipped yourself, Alistar didn't even use Headbutt on Xayah in this situation. He headbutted a minion and then flashed in his Pulverize to get the double knock-up. So for one, Xayah wouldn't have been knocked back by old Rell because he didn't even target Xayah in the first place. And secondly, even old Rell wouldn't have been able to counter that because he did flash in his Pulverize. It is not realistic that a Rell can react to that. Not even the Chinese 1 million LP Rell one trick. He doesn't react to that. And I don't even know if it would have done something if he reacted to it because Alistar wasn't really in range for it. So it's just fundamentally wrong. Then they claim that Vi and Nico are both bad champions when you play into them as Rell. And I can understand it for Nico, yeah, I would agree with that. But Vi? I would even go out of my way and say that Rell is pretty good against Vi. I don't even know where he got that idea from, that for some reason Vi is like the insane Rell counter. Did you just go into a random solo queue game of your own and lose to a Vi and then claim that it's like a general fact that Vi is so incredibly amazing against Rell? And also for the Alistar matchup, why is Alistar against Rell? Even beforehand it was Rell favored and now it's Alistar favored. Like, I would say it's neutral, pre and post Mitsuko update, if not even favored for Alistar a bit in both instances. I personally think that now it's easier to play against Alistar, because you don't have to walk up to him to stun him initially, because your Q is higher range than Attract and Repel was. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not claiming it's a fact, but I personally think Alistar is a better matchup now, but what do I know, honestly? Lol. Anyways, that was the initial post. After some random conversation, someone did appear in the Discord that was not agreeing with our friend Bob. And how dare he? How fucking dare he, man? Why don't you agree with Bob, huh? Who do you think you are? Bitch ass. What the fuck, man? And here he goes, how dare he? It's a bit arrogant to act as if you know better than pro players, don't you think? Which is a fair take. I mean, usually pro players do know a bit more about the game than your casual solo queue players. I mean, I would say that's a fair take. I mean, I think Bob accepts that take and doesn't really say anything about that. I'm pretty sure he's fine with that one. Let's have a look, It's a bit naive to assume pro players know how to use everything optimally. Pro players are rarely better than the best one tricks at playing specific champs, especially if they're learned to fit the meta like Rell was. Do you guys now understand what I meant with getting triggered really easily and it's not okay to disagree with him? Bob, why are we not allowed to disagree with you, man? And also, the first guy never claimed that pro players play everything optimally. He just said that in general, pro players are better at the game than your solo queue dudes. That's all he said. He never said that. What are you talking about, man? After that, our brave warrior. The guy or woman who dares to go against Bob. He comes and writes another pretty understandable message, to be fair. But on average, they know how to play more optimally than players even in high elo. I mean, true, on average, pro players do know how to play the game more optimally than even high elo solo queue players. I don't see a single problem with that statement. I don't think there's anything Bob could say right now that would not agree with that take. Do they now? Well, or not. Works too. Okay. All right. I think we had enough of these interesting conversations. For those who want to know how this conversation ended, our brave warrior pretty much asked if Bob could perform on the stage like a pro player, which is a fair take. If someone claims that normal players are just as good or even better than pro players, why couldn't Bob just go on the stage and perform out of his mind? But Bob, he's a tricky one. Get this. This man killed Tenacity. Who? Hold up, I will do it for you. Yeah guys, fun fact, if you kill a pro player once in a random solo queue game without any proof, by the way, then you are officially better than pro players. I mean, you remember back then when Mo Yasuo managed to solo kill Faker? At this point, he was pretty much better than Faker. I mean, it's just how it is, no? I mean, it's just how it works. Anyways, that's it gonna be for this one. See ya, boys. Alright. Half an hour to complete this. Because we have a fauna stream coming up. Oh yeah.